Joy Taylor is the latest one that's guilty of this. That
Joy Taylor, and I'm going to read this, stood 10 toes down on the Joe Budden podcast.
Caitlin Clark would not be anything without Angel Reese, which is baffling.
Joy Taylor, who went on the Joe Budden podcast and gave her thoughts on how and why Caitlin Clark became so popular.
if Caitlin Clark did that same thing to Angel Reese in a win, that would be Caitlin Clark feuding down.
Joy Taylor has chosen to come and speak again.
I want to take a moment to sincerely apologize to Caitlin Clark. In hindsight, my comments comparing her to Angel Reese were unfair and dismissive of everything Caitlin has accomplished. She's an incredible talent, a game changer for women's basketball, and she deserves to be recognized on her own merits, not constantly pitted against others. I respect her game, her composure, and the impact she's having, and I regret the way my words may have come across.
Joy Taylor is the most recent to engage in this behavior.
Joy Taylor is the latest one that's guilty of this. That,
as if she hadn't already been in enough trouble over the past few months for pushing this bullshit race narrative, Joy Taylor has decided to come and talk once more. Caitlin Clark draws in yet another enormous number. This is the Caitlin Clark effect, period.
Joy Taylor has chosen to come and speak again, as if she hasn't been in enough hot water over these last few months. As if she ain't been in enough hot water, bro. This is the last thing you need to be doing. We got her on the Joe Budden podcast. Shout out to Joe, Queen's Flip. I'm a fan. But we got Joy Taylor continuing to push this bullcrap race narrative, this race war, and this false narrative that Caitlin Clark is more relevant because of Angel Reese, when if anything, Angel Reese became more relevant by continuing to attach herself to Caitlin Clark non-stop. She's used Caitlin Clark for promotion at every single turn in every single business venture.
I just stated that if it weren't for that time with Angel Reese, we wouldn't be discussing Caitlin Clark in the same manner. I will die on this hill and I will fight this to the end.
I just said we would not be talking about Caitlin Clark the way that we do if it wasn't for that moment with Angel Reese. And I will die on this hill. I will die on this hill.
I was with you until that.
I will die on this hill. I will die on this hill. I will fight this
Joy, chill out.
Well, I was with you until you said that. Even the co-hosts who disagreed with her stated, she's going so far that I'm not even close to being accurate, you know?
even the co-host disagreeing with her on that, saying, "Oh, I was with you until you said that."
To the level that
she's
going, she's not even close to being accurate.
These women's insistence on spreading this racist garbage is disgusting. The WNBA's Magic Johnson-Larry Bird moment is fantastic. I'm a storyteller and I believe that tales are crucial. I believe that you need heroes and villains, and you have. To sell a struggle like brand, she said, "I will die on this hill." That's the issue. They want to create division and make it about race. Women like you, Joy Taylor, and everyone else who keeps promoting this bullshit are the problem, man.
This is nasty work, y'all. This is nasty work that these women cannot stop pushing this nonsense racial crap.
The Magic Johnson, Larry Bird moment for the WNBA. Like, this is great. I'm a storyteller. I think storylines are so fucking important. I think you need villains. I think you need heroes. You need shit to sell. You gotta sell a fight. Like, brand all of this. And it upset white men to watch this strong, winning, unapologetic black woman be in their, be in Caitlin's face.
In their savior's face.
Yeah, and they still cling to it. And it's now like spun to this.
She's acting like, at this point, she's acting like Caitlin doesn't have black fans, but go ahead.
They continue to propagate the absurd claim that Caitlin Clark would be nothing without Angel Reese, despite the fact that there are countless numbers to support this claim. Whatever you want to look at, statistics and analytics show that Angel Reese is not even close to being as popular as Caitlin Clark.
Caitlin Clark would not be anything without Angel Reese, which is baffling. There is any number of numbers, statistics, analytics, whatever you want to look at, that proves Angel Reese is not nearly as popular as Caitlin Clark. It's not even close.
Joy Taylor stood 10 toes down on the Joe Budden show when discussing her belief that if she hadn't had that encounter with Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark would not be in the news.
Joy Taylor, and I'm going to read this, stood 10 toes down on the Joe Budden podcast when speaking on her stance that the media would not be talking about Caitlin Clark had she not had that moment with Angel Reese.
People were talking about Caitlin Clark before the race, which was why it was such a big moment, because we knew who she was. If Caitlin Clark had just been another white girl from Iowa who averaged 12 points per game and didn't do what she did, and wasn't aiming for a national record, then yes, there wouldn't have been much that happened in the game. Instead, it would have been a joke, a meme, or anything else that happened. But because Caitlin Clark was involved, it was a big deal. It began with the question, have you seen this girl who's shooting from half court and making every shot, and she's going for the all-time scoring record? Immediately after, that turned into a phenomenon that our society adopted.
People were talking about Caitlin Clark before that moment.
It was the race for the...
It was such a big moment because we knew who Caitlin Clark was. If Caitlin Clark was just another white girl from Iowa that averaged 12 a game and not what she did and wasn't going for a national record, then yeah, it wouldn't have been much of anything
It was the national
that happened
record.
in the game. People would have laughed about it. It would have been a meme. It would have been a joke. It would have been whatever. It was a big deal because Caitlin Clark was involved.
It started out as, have you seen this girl who's shooting from half court and making every shot? And she's going for the all-time scoring record, right? And then that became the phenomenon. We latched on to that. And as a society, and then all of a sudden, they're matching up with Angel Reese and LSU, who are competing for national championships.
This is the Caitlin Clark effect, man. The average of 1.7 million viewers peaked at 2.2, up 14% from the previous season and up 52% from the WNBA on ESPN regular season average of 443,000 viewers last year.
This is what superstardom is. I guarantee you one thing, Asia Wilson ain't pulled this type of number without Caitlin Clark before. I tell you that right now. She ain't pulling this type of number. She's not pulling this type of number. This is legendary, magical stuff here. Average 1.7 million viewers, peaked at 2.2. That is up 14% from last season, and it was up 52% versus last year's WNBA on ESPN regular season average. Up 443,000 viewers, man. This is next level, man. This is the Caitlin Clark effect, period. This is the CC effect, point blank, period.
I said on June 10th that the Chicago Sky and Liberty National TV ratings would be very interesting, and they were, as they drew a disgusting 606,000 viewers on ESPN. By the way, the Fever versus Liberty drew to point to 2 million viewers, which is 1,594,000. More people who tuned in to watch Caitlin Clark play than watched Angel replay the same team. Caitlin Clark, the All-Star, received 515,000 votes, or 516,000 votes, making her 3 times more popular than Angel Reese, who was the 13th most popular player in the league at the time.
The Fever versus Liberty drew 2.2 million viewers. In case your math ain't working out, that is 1,594,000 more people that tuned in to watch Caitlin Clark play than watched Angel Reese play the very same team. The interest wouldn't be there without Angel. They all know that's BS. It's total BS. It's horseshit. It's hilarious that they're still here. Caitlin Clark, the All-Star voting, 515,000, basically 516,000 votes. She is 3 times higher than Angel Reese, who's way back at 13th. She's the 13th most popular player in the league right now. I come out on June 10th and said the Chicago Sky and Liberty national TV ratings are going to be very interesting. Well, they were, because they drew a putrid 606,000 viewers on ESPN.
There was a period when they were closer, but as the season progressed, Caitlin Clark pulled away from Angel Reese. She had the first triple-double for a rookie entering the league or something, and Angel Reese had already broken the record for most rebounds or something. Well, it was double-doubles, and she was on some sort of pace that most double-doubles for a rookie points and rebounds include the part where she's rebounding a lot of her own shots and misses down low as part of the rebounding totals.
Discussion.
Which was, I guess, somewhat of an argument early on in the year.
Like the first
and
half.
then quickly, there was separation.
Yeah, because at that point, I think Caitlin Clark had the first triple-double for a rookie coming into the league or something like that. And Angel Reese had already broken the record for most rebounds or something.
Well, it was double-doubles. She was on some sort of pace that most double-doubles for a rookie.
That's right.
Points and rebounds. It left out the part where she's rebounding a lot of her own shots and misses down low as part of the rebounding totals. But yeah, there was a time where they were closer, and then as the season went on, Caitlin Clark took off and away from Angel Reese.
Here's what Portnoy had to say, and part of his own rebuttal.
People didn't know who Caitlin Clark was before, but do they know more about her now? If you want to argue that it was a big moment, then sure. I was watching the women's basketball final for closely because of Caitlin Clark, and the WNBA rivalry hasn't been close. The difference in the competition between college and pro is that in college, Angel Reese was winning the head-to-head matchups, and now it's lopsided for 2-1 in her favor. Can Angel Reese decide where she's going to be drafted to Chicago? There. Not a very good team, but neither was Indiana, and whenever Caitlin goes there, they're drafted there. Here, she's for 2-1 head-to-head, and you can see the head-to-head stats overall, and you can see the head-to-head statistics as well, I think. Caitlin is currently ranked second in the Vegas odds for MVP.
But let's not act like people didn't know who Caitlin Clark was before. Did they know more about her after that? Sure. If you want to argue that, absolutely. It was a big moment. People knew who she was. And I was watching the Final Four in women's basketball closely because of Caitlin Clark and because she was a phenomenon that year.
And then the rivalry kicks off. And the head-to-head in the WNBA has not been close. You know, the difference in the competition from college to pro now is in college, Angel Reese was winning the head-to-head matchups. Now it's lopsided 4-1 in Caitlin's favor. Now, can Angel Reese determine where she's going to be drafted to Chicago? No. It's not a very good team. Caitlin is right now is second in the Vegas odds for MVP.
There is nothing wrong with that. That is how it is meant to be. Caitlin Clark was already well known heading into that game, but Angel Reese was comparatively unknown. Angel Reese was given the advantage of exploiting Caitlin Clark's star power to establish herself.
Angel Reese in the national championship game, and the controversy. It propels both of them to superstardom. Now, Caitlin Clark was already a star going into that game, while Angel Reese, she was relatively unknown. Angel Reese was given the benefit of using the star power of Caitlin Clark to make a name for herself. There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. That is the way it's supposed to work.
It may be argued that there are Fever members who are currently more well-liked nationwide than Angel Reese. For example, Aaliyah Boston might be her all-time favorite. Star voting definitely spreads the word.
I mean, one could argue that there are members of the Fever that are more popular than Angel Reese right now on a national level. I mean, that could be Aaliyah Boston. It's possible. Her all-star voting certainly puts it out there. And look, I'm not the biggest A'ja Wilson fan. I think she's probably more popular than Angel. I mean, I don't even think...
Caitlin Clark was able to sell out collegiate arenas and travel games. Angel Reese was unable to sell out LSU home games. Angel is not necessary for Caitlin Clark. Angel Reese will continue to be relevant. Reese requires Caitlin Clark.
We are 13 games into the WNBA season. Guess how many home games Angel Reese has sold out? Just take a wild guess. None. Caitlin Clark was selling out arenas in college. She was selling out road games. Angel Reese couldn't sell out home games at LSU. Caitlin Clark does not need Angel Reese to remain relevant. Angel Reese needs Caitlin Clark.
If Caitlin Clark had done the same thing to Angel Reese in a victory, that would be Caitlin Clark feuding down. When I talk about status, I mean their skill as a player, their records from college basketball, and everything else. There's an old saying that says that if you're going to argue with someone in public, you should argue up and not down, because if they argue back with you, it will increase your influence and make you more well-known. Angel Reese was feuding up and not feud down, and she profited from it.
If Caitlin Clark did that same thing to Angel Reese in a win, that would be Caitlin Clark feuding down. And I'm talking about status. I'm talking about their quality as a player, their records they hold from college basketball, all of that. And this is just an old adage that if you're going to feud with somebody publicly, you want to feud up and not feud down, because if they feud back with you, it's going to help your clout. It's going to help make you more famous. Angel Reese was feuding up and not feuding down.
No doubt.
And she benefited from it.
Fans of Angel Reese asked, when are we going to start being honest and asking questions, because we keep saying Angel Reese is so popular and in demand as Caitlin Clark. When the Chicago Sky couldn't sell out their LSU homecoming for her, in addition, they didn't even sell half the arena out. Others asked, why aren't we showing up? Why aren't we tuning in on television?
Chicago Sky. And I will give some Angel Reese fans credit because they noticed it and they admitted it when this happened. When the Chicago Sky went into LSU and could not sell out that LSU homecoming for Angel Reese, not only did they not sell it out, they didn't even sell half the arena out. Some Angel Reese fans said, when are we going to start being honest and asking questions? Because we keep saying that Angel Reese is so popular and is as popular as and in demand as Caitlin Clark, but yet some fans said, why aren't we showing up? Why aren't we tuning in on television? It's a false narrative.
You heard the saying, I'll die on this hill by myself. I understand, but I'm at a loss for words. I can't believe this is still being discussed at this point. Caitlin Clark needed that moment with Angel Reese to become this Caitlin Clark in terms of notoriety, fame, and popularity, which I simply don't believe.
You heard what I'll die on this hill. By yourself, I don't know what to tell you. I can't believe this is even still being brought up at this point.
Caitlin Clark needed that moment with Angel Reese to be this Caitlin Clark in terms of fame, popularity, notoriety, which I just thoroughly...
Give me your thoughts on this. Joy Taylor claims that we would not be talking about Caitlin Clark today if it wasn't for Angel Reese.
If Caitlin Clark did that same thing to Angel Reese in a win, that would be Caitlin Clark feuding down.
Tell me what you think about this, Joy. According to Taylor, if it weren't for Angel Reese, Joe Button and his whole team laughing her offstage, we wouldn't be discussing Caitlin Clark today. In my opinion, Caitlin Clark was also destined to be a huge star.